Nick, get your son round here. Right. You fucking shut your mouth up, haven't you? Yes, so have you. Get your son round here, let's get at it. Take your coat off, take one here. Forget the fucking thing, get your son round here. Chill out. What? Over there. Chill out. Let's do the ring. I'll get out here. Go on here. Put your coat off. Porky, I'll give him the ring. I'm not arguing, I'm not. Fucking crackers, man. Leave it, let's do it in a ring. Yeah, like, you shut your mouth off. Are you now? Come on, we've driven an hour. Fucking weirdo, mate.
That's him gone.
Message to Michael Emperor on YouTube. Right, I'm going to get as many people as I can to follow you, Michael, because you're one of the best storytellers I've ever heard since John Jackanory Fury. So, Michael, what it is, you put all these videos out about me, and I wasn't really bothered about them, but the last one you put out, it's utter rubbish. Utter rubbish. So I've asked you today to come on Zoom so we can go through this deludedness that you're talking about, but you're too busy, you're training for a fight, this and that. Well, how about me and you get at it, Michael? I'm officially calling you out. So, Nicky Smedley's agreed to put you on one of his shows next month. So, get on one of Nicky's shows, get a win under your belt, and me and you'll get at it. How's about that? Alright, you've plenty of mouth, but when it comes to backing it up, you've gone all quiet. I've got a list of everything that I wanted to talk with you today. I've sent you all the list. To be fair, you've got back in touch with me with excuse after excuse after excuse. Michael, come on. You know what you said, and you know why I was throwing you out my house. Alright? In early hours of the morning, don't you? You know why that were. Alright? And it weren't for the stories that you were coming out with. You know what happened. Alright, so rather than me embarrass you about that, mate, alright, we're going to have to get at it, aren't we? So let's do a Zoom and then we can go over all this here. All this rubbish you've come out with. It cost me half a day's draft to go through it all. Alright, so pick up the phone, or let's do a Zoom and we'll get to the bottom of this. Alright, but we will meet up. Alright, I don't want to hear about, I can't meet you on Thursday, Porky, because I'm going to interview Eddie Hearn in Nottingham and all that. I don't want to hear about that. Alright, maybe I should show Eddie Hearn some of the stuff that he used to say about him. It's on my channel. Now all of a sudden you're hanging out the back of Eddie Hearn, he's even on your profile picture. Do you remember what he used to say about Eddie on my channel? How two-faced is that? Well, you're a likeable kid, so let's get at it. Alright, Michael. Peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's when you speak about people's fucking kids and, you know, I'm going to beat them up in front of their wife and kids. That's a result. And Michael didn't want to do anything. So we'll leave it there. Game, set and match.
What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy Izzy Pop for sending through that much needed coin to boost up your man the YB's job seekers allowance, no doubt. So it's all kicking off right now, as you man saw. And in fact, let me give you man a run through. You may not be aware of the current situation. So there's a Don who makes YouTube videos called The Pork. Yeah, now the Pork has a massive, big bubbly looking ass mouth. He'll have to run his mouth, calling everyone out. Now I've covered it before on my channel. The Pork is an alleged former mob boss. He used to run the Doncaster mob, I've heard, and he was running all the jails and whatever else, all the Doncaster jails and all the up north jails. He was basically running it all. Yeah, I'm hearing the Pork had it on lock. You best believe it as well. The Pork's name was ringing. Yeah, the Pork's name was doing the most in the north. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I heard. I heard Kinahan has his little team going on in Ireland, and the Pork has got the north on lock. That's what I've always heard. 100%. Yeah. So if anyone who runs any bits in the north, you have to go to Pork. 100%. Mob boss Pork. Anyway, so your mob boss Pork is the guy that the white one who you saw giving it the mouth in the video, and obviously explaining it. Now, I don't know about all the political stuff between the two people. I've heard some stories. I have heard, quite ironically, people who follow the Pork know that the Pork's been calling everyone out. Spencer Fearon, Dave Caldwell, and now Emperor Michael. Now, Emperor Michael is a relatively smaller channel, but he has long long-lasting roots in the sport. In fact, he was one of the originators of this thing. Yeah, I believe his name started off Apollo Jackson, was it? Either way, Apollo Jackson is one of the OGs in the game. He started, I think, 2010. Maybe even before Kugan Bear. But obviously he went in another direction and he's basically started up again these times. But 2-2s. Your man's Emperor Michael. Allegedly, he told me, like I said, quite ironically, your man's the Pork has been calling out Dave Colwell saying, oh, Dave Colwell's a nonce and Adam Smith's a nonce and all this kind of stuff. But I've been hearing, yeah, Michael told me that the Pork keeps inviting men round to his house to stay. Oops. It's one of them ones. Yeah, that's the story I keep hearing stories of the Pork inviting random dudes round to his house to stay all the time. Yeah, and the way I understand the story is Michael was doing his thing in up north, and for whatever reason the Pork started offering his room up and desperately begging, oh, please now, stay at mine tonight, go on, stay at mine tonight. Now, you man can tell me, I believe the Pork might be married and whatnot. Think about this, why would a married man with kids in his house, I believe he's got a daughter as well, why would a married man with female kids in his house want to bring in a random dude you never met before? Yeah, that don't make no sense to me. I haven't got a family, but if I did, why would you want a randomer in your house when you got your kids in there and your wife in there? It begs the question. You must be really thirsty for something. Oops. Yeah, think about it. Let's be real now. What family man forgoes security for what? For a randomer. Don't make no sense unless you're on the DL. Oops. Yeah. Unless you folks. I've had experience with these kind of cats. Yeah. These DL cats, they're so thirsty for the long one. Yeah, 100%. That's what I've heard. I'm just hearing that allegations are the Pork was looking for the long one. He liked the long one. That's why he stays inviting random dudes round to stay. That's what I've heard. That's what I'm hearing. And it's one of them ones. Listen, if you want a place to stay, apparently he predates on the vulnerable. Oh, you haven't got nowhere to stay, and or you're homeless. Tell you what to do. Come round. Give me the long one from the back. Yeah, because again, don't forget, people. The Pork is a prison mob boss. And a lot of these prison dons, they're kind of fruity. Yeah, trust me. When you spent a few years when you spent a few years locked down, any hole becomes a goal. And the allegations are the Pork developed an affinity, yeah, developed a taste for some of the male meat. That's what I'm telling you. I'm gonna tell you what I've heard. The same way he heard about Colwell and whatever else, I'm telling you what I heard. Oops. Yeah, so the charges are, have you or have you not had a whole bunch of, or not even had, have you or have you not been begging to have a whole bunch of dudes stay at your house despite having your family? It don't make no sense to me. In my mind, wait a minute, I've got a random man I've never met before, or I've spoke to remotely on the internet. Why would I bring a random man into my house for? What's the motive there? I don't get that. Why risk? You don't know who he is. For all you know, all these random dudes you keep bringing to your house could be off their rocker. In fact, the Pork himself even goes on to say that, oh, Apollo or Michael, he's mad and crazy. Well, if he's mad and crazy, why were you so thirsty to have him stay at your house? Oops. Yeah, but like I said, people, when you're thirsting for the long one, when you want that long thick one from the back, you'll do anything for it. Yeah, F the kids, F the wife, I want this long thick one. I want this long thick Eritrean one that Michael fixing to give me. But obviously, that's why they fell out. So in the video here, you see the Pork say, oh, yeah, you know why we fell out, and that's why he don't tell you why. The real reason they fell out is because Michael said, listen, Pork, I don't know what, I thought you was giving me a room to stay. Yeah, I didn't realise there were terms to it. I didn't realise you would, you know what I'm saying? I didn't realise you wanted the long one I didn't realise you want the long Eritrean one from the back. And it all makes sense now, because guess what? People say, why did the Pork try to victimise Michael for? Well, Michael is Eritrean, which means, yeah, he's got stamina. Marathon running don. Yeah, and guess what? The Pork like the long sesh. He not only wants the long one from the back, he wants the longest one for a long sesh from the back. Yeah, Pork don't want to, trust me, when the Pork wants to be ridden, he likes to be broken, not good and proper, all the way in, for a good 30 minutes, and then he knew that he was doing the maths. Wait a minute, got Eritrean on, he good at marathon running, so bring him round, he gonna give me the full sesh from the back, 100%. Anyway, listen, the bottom line is, people who follow my channel know we've been following the pork, and the pork's mouth has been chattering on, chat. 1 minute it was Spencer Fearon, now he's calling out Emperor Michael for smoke. Now, this obviously leads on to this whole thing. What's happened is, in the video where you see the pork talking and explaining in the beef and how Michael's been running his mouth, you'll notice that one of the alleged excuses Michael was given as to why they can't get it on is because he's busy and because he's going to interview Eddie Hearn in Newcastle. So what appears to have happened is, the pork pulled up, which I respect that. Apparently the pork is pulled up to the Newcastle Eddie Hearn Matchroom show and stuck it on Michael. Now, the reason I believe that's happened is because of the camera. The fact the camera was there filming it, tells me that, to be fair, I've done videos in the past giving respect to the pork, because guess what? The pork turned up and pulled up on John Fury, and I respect that. The pork, Mickey Theo, they pulled up, and John Fury was nowhere to be found. He was sitting somewhere scary. So I respect that. People know me. I judge things on a case-by-case basis. I don't have nothing against no one. Yeah? Yeah, one day you can be first in for the long era train one from the back, and the next day you can be sticking on John Fury. You know what I'm saying? You get judged on each case by case, no doubt. But like I was saying, so it appears the pork has pulled up on Michael in Newcastle. Do I respect that? Absolutely. Why not? Why not pull up on him? And again, one of the alleged things here is that Michael was ducking the smoke. That's why the pork pulled up. The pork's a legend. He wanted to get super busy with the hands. You hear in the video him say, "Yeah, well, Michael can have a fight on the promoter's show, and then we'll get it on afterwards," or whatever. Apparently, Michael didn't reply and/or said he was busy, so the pork's chosen to pull up and stick it on him in person. Now, going to the actual event where you see him sticking it on him, I don't know. Was Michael ignoring whatever else? We don't know. What we can say is Michael hadn't, to this point at least, put any response videos up about the pork. He's been busy. Now, I have to admit, me personally, well, it's only been 2 or 3 days, but still, me personally, I'd have found a way to at least put something out. In this particular situation, I think it's important. And to be fair, I've told him that. I've told him, listen, you need to be out here. Unless you're shook, you need to be out here, bottom line. Yeah? And if it was me, I'll be on that thing, 100%. So it's just to make sure there's no confusion, because you can't give people like the pork, give him an inch to take a mile, one of them ones. If the pork thinks he smells some weakness, that's the reason he went to Newcastle. I guarantee you, it's a bit like when the pork ducked George Groves. The pork was calling out George Groves. George Groves pulled up to the pork's local pub and the pork went missing. Yeah, and that's the principle here. When the pork thinks that he can get a free one, if he can get a freebie, he'll take it. Same with Spencer Fearon. For months when Spencer Fearon wasn't replying, yeah, the pork was giving it, yeah, I'm going to do this to Spencer. I'm going to do that to Spencer. Then guess what? Spencer Fearon pops up and decides, you know what, let me swap this on. Yeah, let me give the pork something to, let me deep fry this pork into some nice crispy bacon. 100%. And guess what? All of a sudden, the pork had to take a quick flight, or a long-ass flight, and a long-ass vacation all the way with O'Hara Davis to Turkey. Yeah, 100%. The pork had to go to Turkey quickly. I've gone Turkey and I'm super duper sick and I got all this fake news and I'm in my bed and all that other stuff. All we know is I'm just telling you what happened. And what happened was, like I said, the minute Spencer Fearon popped his head up, the pork went missing. Oops. So I do actually believe, I can't lie to you, I do believe there is some supporting evidence that Michael did actually go missing or hadn't replied. That's why I think pork got gassed for and thought, yeah, I'm going to stick it on him because bullies in the main smell weakness. And if they think that you ain't really on it, that's when they'll start doing the most. When they don't, when they realise you're on this thing, like when the pork realised Don Spenny weren't playing, he'd go quiet, he ain't want no more. And that's why, see how things have shifted, people? Remember, I've got more videos coming soon on this topic, but remember, people, yeah? The pork was calling out, your man's Don Spenny. Oh, Spencer X, I'm going to do this. Now all of a sudden, it's gone from Spencer X to this guy. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. The pork smelt some weakness. He thought there's something sweet in Michael. Now, I think Michael going to box this dude's head off. Bottom line. But in terms of what we know to this point, that's why I'm explaining why it's happened or what's happened and why. Yeah? So anyway, let's crack on. The last thing I'll talk about is the actual altercation itself. So you see the Pork there, he pulls up on Michael. Full respect for doing that, because most people, myself included, wouldn't be bothered to do it. But I respect that. I respect people wanting beef and going to look for it. You can't not respect that. The Pork says, you be mouthing off. Michael, they go face to face. And what I do have to say is that I believe, like I said, I believe the Pork is a bully. Not in a weird, oh, I want to get him cancelled kind of way. I think it's cool. I think me personally, I think what he does is cool from my point of view, but it's still bully's actions. Like I said, it's not I'm not saying that to say, oh, he needs to be cancelled. No, I'm just saying that's what it is, though. That's how he acts, I believe. And on that basis, you can tell, in my opinion, by the interaction, in as much as the Pork to me comes across as a Don who reads a room, he reads the situation well, and I believe he read the situation and realised, oh yeah, get the cameras out, I know there's security around, nothing's going to happen, I'm going to be nice and safe, and then one's there. For example, the Pork reminds me of the guy, yeah, you know, in the club, and the dude's got about 5 men holding him back, and he gives it the most, yeah, hold me back, and you can see him kept trying to take his jacket off. It's like, what are you doing? Kept trying to take his jacket off like he can do something. I never got that, because for me, yeah, if I was going to do something, it'd be done. What's all this fronting, puffing your chest out and taking your jacket off? Just swing, innit? If you really wanted to swing, that you were face to face, you could have swung. And all this talk about, oh, let's go around the corner. What's all that? For me, that's fronting. If you was that bang on it, you should have just let shots fly, in my opinion. Or in my mind, you're either bang on it or you're not. Oh, let's go around the corner. Let's take jacket off. Hold me back. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So that for me was all bully fronting, trying to act like a hard ass. And you got to bear in mind as well, the context here. Don't forget, the cameras were out, and it was the Pork's team who were recording it. So that for me was all acting. Because if it weren't, the Pork would have just let a shot. Let a shot off. And you know what I mean. And if he really wanted it like that, he could let a shot off. Now I actually spoke to Michael, and I told him, what Michael, if you listen carefully, Michael says, let's do it in the ring, and he's insisting on doing it in the ring, and I 100% agree. Some people have been saying, oh look, you ducked it, oh Michael ducking the Pork. I don't agree with that, because me personally, if I was in that situation, I'd do exactly the same thing. Now, I've already told you, I wouldn't have done what's happened over the last few days, in as much as the minute the Pork put a video out, within 24 hours or within 48 hours, I'd have put a response out. That's where me and Michael are different. Just to make sure there's I wouldn't want any confusion. Busy or not. Now, to be fair to Michael, I don't know how busy he is. If he's that busy that some people do shifts where they work 12 hours and they, you know what I mean? If that's been the case, then fair play to him. Maybe he hasn't had time. But I still think everyone has time to find a minute in this particular situation where it's time sensitive. So I've already told you, me and Michael have different actions in different situations. But on this situation, I agree with Michael. Meaning that I wouldn't want to go around a corner and get arrested. It's just messy. Especially when you're fighting someone who's got a gastric band. He's old, got no teeth, gastric band. His insides are rotten, his teeth are rotten. Which means his body isn't sound. He almost died the other week. And in my mind, I don't want to be responsible. And the crazy thing is, if you go on YouTube and you type in one punch killers, I literally watched a documentary the other day, and there's a whole bag of man who hit people once, their head licks off the floor, and that's it. So on that basis, is it worth it? It's just not. In my mind, it's just not. It's not worth it. I'll go in there, touch, whip, and that's the end of that. Next thing I know, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the court talking about how. You know what I'm saying? Talking about how he said he wanted it. And that's the thing, it's too late then. When all the family's in and, oh, he didn't, his name was the Pork and he's a victim and what? Your man was mouthing off. But that's why it's so important to do it in the ring. So I do agree with Michael, and I respect his resolve, because most people would have been lured into that and tried to escalate it. But with that in mind, I'm not going to sit here and try and make out it's all one way. I do respect and appreciate the Pork's frustration. If Michael hasn't been responding and or has been making excuses, I get how you can be frustrated. So I'm not saying, and that's why I said I respect that Pork turned up. Because if you want the beef and you've got and people who know me know that I think things should be set. Some moist dons, some 2022 moist dons say things like, "Oh, we should never use violence." I think violence is important, and I think it's part of human nature. Look at every other animal; they use violence. Now, do I believe in guns? No. Do I believe in knives? No. I believe in two men and their hands, and I believe you shake hands at the end, and you keep you know what I mean, and you can keep it pushing. No hard feelings. I think it's important. When you've got two different opinions and you think you want to do something about it, I don't think there's a problem with that. And that's what's so great about boxing. You can put gloves on and two people can walk away at the end of it, and you know who the better man is, and you then know who is your top. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's nothing else to be said, is there? There's nothing else to be said. Whoever wins that is daddy. Bottom line. Yeah. Whoever wins that, you've been topped. Oops. Or you're the topper. Whoever loses, you're a bottom. Simple as that. So clearly these two dons have different opinions. So the Pork he's saying at least, taking him at his word, he said he want Michael bad. He'd been trying to tie Michael down. Allegedly, Michael been missing. So Pork turning up, I respect that. Pork saying go around the corner, I don't get that so much. Even though I can empathise with his frustration, but still, I think Pork should have gone there to lock in the ring thing. Yeah, and how the confrontation ended, which I found a bit suspect, was at the end of the video. Michael throughout the video says, "Let's do it in the ring. Let's do it in the ring." Pork says, "No, I want to do it now." And then at the end of the video, Porky's man lover called Max says, "Oh, it's all done now. Yeah, we pulled up and he didn't want it and it's all done now." Well, no, it's not all done now, because Michael's confirmed he wants to do it in the ring. Now, again, if we know Porky's got contacts in the boxing world and has got a gym to go to or whatever, Mickey Theo's gym or whatever gym, so if that's the case, there should be no excuses now. Yeah, Michael says he wants it in the ring. Now, if the Pork reaches out to Michael within the next week here and Michael goes missing again, then I'll come on here myself and say, Michael shat it for whatever reason. 100%, I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah? There's no excuse now. Porky has confronted him, so there should be no confusion now. There's no I'm busy, there's no I've missed it. It should be clear now. Yeah? These two men must get it on in the ring. I don't want to hear no excuses from neither side. To stay neutral, I don't want to hear no excuses from neither side. Yeah? Pork, you said you want it on the street, so there's no reason you shouldn't want it in the ring. And Michael, you said you want it in the ring, so there's no excuse to be busy I won't tell a lie. You can be busy, but within the next month or however long, within the next X amount of time, and I actually think this event could be, I don't know how, hopefully Pork got some promotional infrastructure. I think this should be an event myself, genuinely. I said on Twitter, I said, this fight for me would be the pay-per-view of the year. I'll pay for it. And people don't know me. No, I ain't paid for no pay-per-view. But I believe in I like to support events in the ground roots. Yeah, the grassroots rather. I'd support this event. No, I'm not saying that's worth much, but I'd definitely put my tenner in to watch this, because I want to watch this. I feel emotionally involved in this. Think of all the other bum fights. I even tagged Eddie Hearn for whatever that's worth and told him, listen, Eddie, put this show on, because guess what? I know it's not a mega. I know people, Pork and whatever. Our names aren't KSI and Logan, but still, for whatever it's worth, I'd rather genuinely. This for me would be the fight of the year. I want to watch Pork. I want to watch Michael. Crack it on. The same way I wanted to watch Don Spenny and Pork. These are the ones I want to watch. Same way people want to watch the YB and Tyrone. You understand? These are the fights that people want to watch. They don't want to watch AJ go in there, have a sparring session with some bum and get whooped up. People ain't want to watch that no more. People want to watch things that are emotionally charged. People know the YB can't go in there with Tyrone and roll over like a big fluffy bear. Can't do it. Or if he can, he's finished. Oops. Yeah. And it works both ways. The Pork's ran his mouth. Michael won it bad. People want to watch this. So I think there is a possibility. To be fair, it's up to both of them too, what they want to do. But I'm saying, either way, I want to watch it. And I'd be happy to pay for it, is what I'm saying. On pay-per-view. That's my opinion. But if they want to just get it on in the gym, that's good enough for me. I'm happy either way. But I'm just saying, yeah, this thing needs to happen ASAP. So both people, stop woofing. Or you can tell a lie. You can carry on woofing, but guess what? Get in there. How about that? That's what you need to do. Get in there. Yeah, no excuses, no, oh, let's do it in the street, let's do this. Crack on. Yeah, 100%. Because